Moving to Syria, will the rebel leaders there live up to their promise to create an inclusive, multi-ethnic, multi-religious government, or will they revert to their terrorist roots? Joining us now is retired four-star General Joseph Votel, the former commander of U.S. Central Command, now a distinguished senior fellow on national security at the Middle East Institute. General Votel, thanks very much for being with us. Jake Sullivan said today that there is some opportunity, obviously, in Syria with the fall of the butcher Assad, but there are enormous risks of the resurgence of ISIS. How concerned are you?
Well, I think everyone should be concerned about terrorist organizations that rise up into these positions. That said, what we've seen is over the last week or so is we've seen fairly moderate actions from them. And having just returned from the region, asking this question to a number of our partners over there, they're watching this very closely. So they will be looking at what the next, the 90-day agenda looks like. They'll be looking at how they apply some of the principles that were discussed in Aqaba last week. And they'll be looking at how they approach multi-party discussions. So Mr. Jolani has said a lot, but we really need to see actions on his part before we begin to make different judgments about HTS.
How quickly do you think, if he persists in his moderate stance, his inclusive stance, he's abandoned his previous uniform, he's in civilian dress, how quickly should we delist him as a terrorist, which he is, according to us and the United Nations? And should we be on the ground, which is a big issue? The French and the Brits are going in.
Yeah, I think right now, I'm not sure our classification of HTS as a terrorist organization is preventing him from doing what he needs to do on the ground here. Certainly, it is limiting some of our interaction with him. We can make that call whenever we want. I do think it's important to be cautious here and to make sure that we are seeing a continuation of moderate stances by Mr. Jolani, by HTS, by the interim government as they move forward here. Whether we should be on the ground or not, that's really kind of a political decision. We don't actually have to be on the ground to communicate with them. I do recognize some other Western powers have gone in there. I think being a bit cautious, I think, is probably the right approach at this point.